that we've ever beat a Division I school in anything that was football related, so it was pretty exciting. We got a lot of newspaper recognition for that, and we all of a sudden became, without doing much more than that, the favorites to win Division III, and so there were a lot of preseason accolades that came our way from that. Moving forward from there, we had the misfortune of hitting a lot of injuries. We had some of our key players, Matt Bassan, went down with an injury before the first game, was our best lineman returning. Then in our first game against Bedford, we lost our starting backfield.
Don't give us time. Don't talk back. It's constructive criticism. We can see it better than you can.
Defensively. Around open field tackling drills.
We'll all remember the hikes up the mountains where we kind of hiked a bit. It was interesting because some of the guys told me when we were doing that, they had never been on a hike before. And that was just amazing. We're out there hiking up some of the mountains in the area, and it was a first experience for some of the boys. But we would get up there and talk a little bit and process through what was going on, and we stayed together and stayed strong. I think it was, unless you win the state championship, you never have the success that we all think of as the true success. But every step along the way, I think that I already mentioned the win against Portsmouth and the win against Salem, which were probably our two biggest moments of the year. But I think clawing back and straightening back and winning games.
But it was a fun season. I just want to thank you guys for letting me be a part of that. We're just going to quickly recognize the guys that are here. They're going to each get a certificate, and then we have a couple awards. And then we just have a couple of the guys got some individual recognition, so we'll go through those real quick as well. This first guy was a running back for us, a tailback, and he was also a cornerback. Unfortunately, spent the first couple games on the bench because of an injury, so for the first couple weeks of the season, our next player was a fullback for us, and he was also middle linebacker. A very, very tough kid, much tougher than his size indicates. So tough that I really was putting a hard recruiting him very hard for the rest of the team this year, but to my disbelief, he decided to play that other winter sport with a round ball and nets, and I shake my head every time I see him in the hallway now, but Ryan Kennard. Next player had the very daunting task of getting to play for his father and getting to play a position that was brand new to him in organized football. We ran a two-quarterback offense, and both of our quarterbacks this year had never taken a snap in organized football before, and they caught on very, very quickly, and we actually had a pretty complex offense by the end of the season, and he was one of the guys that split the snaps, and he was also an outstanding cornerback and safety for us, and that's Mitchell Tucson. And Mitchell decided not to play the sport with the round ball this year and wrestle for me. So did this next guy, who was like a special teams expert, specialist for us. He probably made one of the biggest hits of the season, a nice tackle on kickoff, and every once in a while, Coach Kusan would get him in at nose guard. And like I said, he did come out and wrestle for me this year. It's Nick Raven. our two tailbacks were our two sort of specialty running backs, and this next guy was that other one who took a bulk of the workload from the running back position. And also, we a lot of swing passes. We had a little some trick plays, and he did a nice job as a linebacker for us as well. It's Kyle Ndingaro. Got the prettiest tie on today, too. Next guy was the hippie of the team. I graduated college not that long ago, but I never thought I would hear the band Fish ever again when I walked out of college until this kid comes up to me and says, "Coach, I have to miss practice tomorrow because I'm going to a Fish concert." I was like, "What do you know about the band Fish?" But he did a nice job for us as a tight end, mostly as a tight end. And we got him in on defense as well, at times at cornerback and at safety, and it was Cody Howe. This next player was on the field a lot. He was a tight end for us. He was a rover for us. And he also did all of the kicking for us. Without a doubt, was the best kicker on any of the teams that we faced at the freshman level, and also did a nice job kicking for Coach Cathcart at the varsity level. And he's going to definitely have a promising football future, Matt Garrison. Matt was the one that put me under the water at the end of the college football. Next guy was sort of a lineman. Was sort of saw multiple positions at line, both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Did a great job for Coach Kusan. Blocked really well for us on the offensive side, and was able to get in and give some of our starters a break on the defensive side. And that's Johnny Amin. We got one more. Our last football player tonight was between him and Matt. We had a very good on both sides of the line. They did a nice job at tight end for us, and Nate also did a nice job for us the rover position. They both sort of mirrored each other. They were opposite sides of the end and then opposite sides of rover. Very hard hitting. And I think he's easily going to make the adjustment to the next level at JV, no problem. Possibly see some varsity time on the defensive ball side next year, and that's Nate Eldred. All right, then we just have a couple individual recognitions. I'm actually going to involve my assistants for this. Coach Kusan is going to take over right now, and he's going to talk about our defensive MVP, and he's also going to talk about two guys that are going to be recognized for sportsmanship. And then we'll turn it over to Coach Del Terrio, who will do offensive MVP, and then I'll finish back up with the Coaches Award for the freshmen.
Our first sportsmanship of the award goes to a young man who I tell you, I remember because he had more nicknames on the team than anyone else. But I used to use him as an example all the time. Because he wasn't a big guy, but he had the biggest heart on the team. And I used to use him all the time as an example for some of the kids who were maybe a little bit more athletically gifted than him. Because you can have the talent of an athlete, but if you don't have the heart, it just doesn't come together. I think that the best memory I will have of this young man is our game against Souhegan, when he put his head down and took a running back on the kickoff off his feet that I'm sure was figuring he was going to lower his shoulder and run over him. But Nick Raven let him know that he was there to play football, and he sent that kid off wondering what just hit him. So Nick Raven is the first sportsmanship of this year. Sportsmanship of the Year award goes to an individual who was always very, very quiet. He was a guy who did whatever you asked him to do. And it's funny too, I see the news lately is this guy from Cleveland with the big baritone voice, the homeless guy who has a real deep voice. That's what he was in the huddle. He was the guy you could always hear talking over the quarterback because his voice was so deep. It's just something that strikes out, that stands out in my mind. But this individual was also someone else who would play wherever he needed to play. He was hitting as hard as he could every single play, and he waited for his time to shine. He played tight end for us, so most of the time he was doing some blocking, but every once in a while he got the opportunity to go out for a pass, and when he had that opportunity, he never ever wasted it. He had a great set of hands, and he was there for us whenever we needed him on both offense and defense. The other Sportsmanship of the Year award goes to Nathan Eldridge.
Alright, how's everybody doing today? Okay, this is my second year, coaching year. I started with Coach Detchen with the freshmen, and it's been fun for me. Hopefully I can continue to do it. I really like it and really enjoy it. I'm thankful for the opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to do the offense player of the year. Okay, this player definitely leads by example. Not the biggest guy. I think if he bulks up in the offseason, he'll be fine. But he led their team with rushing yards, touchdowns, probably receiving yards too. He did everything we asked him to do. Anytime we were in a clutch situation, he was the person we would want to give the ball to. He actually got called up a few times to play on the JV team with Coach Willis. Did a great job for him too. So just keep it short, but he did a great job. And Kyle Navarro.
Okay, we have one more award, and this is the Coaches Award. And this is going to go to an individual who, and we've said this about a number of these guys, just because it is the type of group that they are, but this player literally would do anything that we as a coaching staff would ask for him to do. He would play any position that we needed. Anytime there was a spot in the game where we were a little bit weak on one side, he would always say, I can go in and I'll fix the problem. And that's now spilled into, I'm lucky enough to now have him with me at the wrestling team, and he's done everything I could ask for a freshman to do, and he's without a doubt much more mature beyond his years. A lot of times if we're running late in the practice room, I'll have the seniors wrap up and let the other classmen go. But with the exception of this guy, he has to stick around and help us out. And I look forward to being able to work with him for the rest of this wrestling season and 3 more years. It's been fun having his brother, and now I get to have him. And the Coaches Award for the freshman football team this year goes to Mitchell Kusan.